Hello and welcome to this live session for Cricket Next. I'm Neil Ramakrishnan, and joining me shortly would be a couple of my colleagues from Cricket Next, and we're here to discuss what India's dominant win in the third ODI versus England, and with that they have polished off the series 3-0, a white series whitewash for England, and India have been dominant throughout the entire ODI series. In fact, the entire tour as well. They won the T20Is 4-1 as well, and now the ODI series 3-0. So joining me for the discussion on this is Rudransh Khurana from Cricket Next Desk, and also joining in is our Cricket Next videos and both website guy Akash. I'll begin with Rudransh first up. A great win for not great dominant win for Team India on expected lines. It was something that we were discussing. I think me and Akash were discussing at the start of the match itself, that one thing that we probably want to see is a bit of fight back from England, which was nowhere near the case, because again, this time around also India lost the toss. For a change, they batted first, putting on a score of over 350. The batting again clicking together. England had no answer, and when it came to the defending that total as well, India were pretty much on the clinical bowling performances. So overall, Rudan, just to start this off, your takeaway, the biggest takeaway for you from this game and from the series itself?
I think the biggest takeaway from England's perspective would be you must have read Bendakat's comments that we are not interested in we don't care if we win a match here or not. We are only interested in the Champions Trophy. I think that it's reflecting in their performances. I also heard Ravi Shastri recently speaking that he has only seen them get one net session or throughout the tour of India, which tells about how seriously they were taking this. And India, to their credit, they took it very, very seriously. They put up very professional performances, and I think that bodes well for them. They will go to the championship with a lot of confidence, which was needed after what we saw in the Test series. And I think they're more than any individual performances. I think the biggest takeaway would be how well the team is working together, despite all the changes, despite all the ins and outs. It has still maintained that core and the momentum that it had in the 2023 World Cup, and it's looking very good for them.
Yep, most definitely is looking very good. Just to give you a brief of what exactly transpired in this match. Well, of course, for the third time in this series, Rohit Sharma lost the toss, but Josh Butler, instead of opting to bat first, he opted to bowl first for the first time, and you can see the scorecard there. Rohit Sharma, after that century in the second ODI, could not really get going. Markwood got him out pretty early, but Shubman Gill continuing his fantastic run of form, finally getting 100 here. Got two good starts in the first two ODIs as well, converting this time around, scoring 112 of just 102 deliveries. Virat Kohli also got in the thick of runs before being taken out by Adil Rashid for the 11th time. That's the most, joint most at least for any bowler against Virat Kohli. But again, he scored 52 or 55, back in form. But for me, the biggest factor has been in this series, Shreyas Iyer, the way that he has scored, batting at number 4, scoring at over 120 strike rate, and he pretty much in that middle over bossed around the England bowlers, 78 of 64. KL Rahul chipping in with a decent 40 of 29, and eventually India scoring 350, 356 in the 50 overs, even though they were bowled out. But that was a very, very formidable score there. And in reply, well, England did start off well. Phil Salt and Ben Beckett really took down the Indian bowlers early on, Arshdeep or Harshit Rana. But once the spinners came in and once that breakthrough came in, it was all India throughout. Tom Banton scored 38. He was coming in for this game. Joru 24. Very unfortunate the way he got out. So does Harry Brook. But then again, Josh Butler coming at way down at number 6 could not really get going. Gus Atkinson did give you some fireworks late in the day, but that was not enough. And again, they all out for 214. No real fight put up there. And looking at the bowling card, well, Ashdeep Singh bowled 5 overs, slightly expensive, 5 overs for 33, but got 2 wickets, the top 2 wickets. Openers, in fact, Harshit Rana came in, bowled really well. He has had a good series, in fact, picking up 3 wickets in his debut, 1 wicket here, 2 wickets here. Economy 6.2. Sundar, who came in for this game in place of one of the spinners, I think Ravindra Jadeja, yes, was taken taken for runs, but again, he too picked up one wicket. Akshar Patel, Hardik Pandya, Kuldeep Yadav, all among the wickets. So, Akash, a clinical bowling performance there from Team India, and overall also such a fantastic dominant performance. I mean, it in a way, uh, as Rudransh pointed out, pretty much those test match worries and test match the things that pretty much has been wiped out, and going into the Champions Trophy, this looks a very formidable team.
Absolutely. Even Josh Butler just said that in the post-match presentation that we have been beaten by a very good team. Well, before going into the ICC Champions Trophy, the way this team has performed in all the three matches, it's commendable. Especially given the fact that we have played just these many ODIs, three ODIs last year, but the gap was very long, and all this while we just were into the red ball format. A lot was spoken about the forms of the big stars as well as the youngsters chipping in, but now the kind of the kind of performances that each and everyone has given at a particular point in time, it makes, like Rudranj said, like you said, it's make India look like a formidable team. But I would like to also mention here that yes, we have been unbeatable kind of in home conditions. At home, we are very much strong. We are even stronger than any good side across the world. But once again, the problem will be or might be, might arise when we go to the UAE, because not far back, just a few years ago, we have seen what we went through in that ICC T20 World Cup. But here the format is different, but the conditions I think are gonna be same. But for starters, the way India performed in all these three ODIs, they almost tick all the boxes, and it won't be, wrong calling them formidable as of now. But just that they have to take this momentum forward. They have to carry this momentum forward, and let not that things slip away from their hands. And I'm guessing they are all bases covered going into the Champions Trophy, even if when there is when there is no Jasprit Bumrah in the lineup.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's one name that everybody were thinking, what would Team India do without Jasprit Bumrah? And this series is anything to go by. Well, you probably may not need a Jasprit Bumrah for the Champions Trophy after all, because it's more of the spinners coming into play, Rudransh, right? I mean, Mohammad Shami was rested. Arshdeep Singh, Harshit Rana combined 10 overs, and the rest of the, I think Hardik Pandya, of course, did chip in, but it has been the spinners. I mean, look at the economy rates of the spinners. Washington Sundar did go for a bit of runs, but Kuldeep Yadav, Akshar Patel, Ravindra Jadeja, in fact, was India's pick of the bowlers, as Akash was mentioning in the first two ODIs. So, all in all, more than the batting, more than the fast bowlers, the owners, or pretty much, the one aspect which was like going under the radar were the spinners, and they've really come through. And going into Champions Trophy, the kind of wickets that you would see in Dubai, at least where that is where India would be playing. In the UAE, the pitches would be slow, big rounds. This spin attack, your take on how these guys have performed here, and how confident you seem to be now that these are the same bunch would be going to Champions Trophy as well.
I think I am most impressed by Akshar Patel's performances because Kuldeep, we knew that he is a wicket taker, and it was only a matter of time of him getting some match practice after all the surgeries and all the injuries he has gone through. Akshar Patel has, I think, he has grown as a more of a wicket taker like Ravindra Jadeja does in ODIs. That he's not just your run stopper or just a over filler, but he takes wickets. He's aggressive. That's what I've started to like about Akshar Patel more, and I think that bodes well because without Jasprit Bumrah, you need without Jaspreet Bumrah takes away your skills in power play and death overs. So you need someone to step up in the middle overs. You need your spinners to step up in the middle overs. With Kuldeep Yadav, I think that pairing with Jadeja and Akshar Patel as backup, and even Washington Sundar as a backup, with Varun Chakravarti as an extra aggressive spinner, it is working very well for now. I think the only issue could be if the UAE pitches are very flat or very seamer friendly because we are going a bit early in the season. Then we'll have to depend on. But I think even for that, Ashdeep Singh did a decent job in replacing Bumrah. He's an excellent bowler. I think with more time he can be it's sort of a great number two for Bumrah, to a great understudy to learn those all-round skills. And I think that combination is working very well.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. That combination is pretty much working well. And you did mention about Ashdeep Singh, and that is where I think somebody like a Hardik Pandya comes in with that great balance. That even if you have a Arshdeep Singh and a Harshit Rana with slightly not that kind of an experience, but then again, if you have somebody like a Hardik Pandya to give you those extra seam bowling overs, that really helps. Let's move focus a bit from the bowling aspect of the batting, which has been really great. The two chases that they put out and the kind of scores they have put in. Akash, this my question to you would be: do you think the kind of fight or the lack of fight that England put up or England did not show, will it mask in a way that how this Indian team, is it that good, this batting lineup, or England was so poor that come Champions Trophy might be slightly different from what we are seeing here? Or do you think everybody is coming back to form? Somebody like an Iyer or Kohli getting immense runs, Rohit Sharma, okay, one century and two flop shows there, but again, Shubman Gill back to his best format that he loves to play, and he's raking up the runs. Is there a fair distance away this team in terms of quality batters as compared to others, or is it like England made India look really good?
Yeah, could be, both the cases could be a possibility, because you see, the way, like I said in answer to to the previous question, in my the way Indian batters have, responded to the situation, the way they thrived under pressure, and they made, the things look so easy that I don't think England must have must have come prepared for all these things. I mean, you see, barring their the opening pairs, the way they have fired up in the last two games, even in Ahmedabad, even in Cuttack, they gave some good starts to the team. But when came the middle order, despite being some of the good batters, some big hitters being there, like Joe Root, like Josh Butler himself, even Liam Livingston being there, they could not capitalize on what the top order handed to them, which was in stark contrast to India. Because if you see the last chase what we saw, and today how Shubman Gill built that innings, it was completely clearly visible that the openers are setting up the base. If not the openers, then at least one of them, they just set the base. The rest of the batters capitalize on that, and they just take the inning forward, be it chasing or be it setting up a target for the opposition. If we take today's case, then Shubman Gill was there. Then he was joined by Virat Kohli, who scored a 50. Then Shreyas Iyer came in. He in fact scored a 50. KL Rahul came in. He also chipped in with 40 odd runs. So that kind of a partnership that we often talk about, last few months we could not see that in some other format in test cricket. But what we missed there, we are completely looking at right now. That's kind of a batting approach has to be there, no matter whichever team is playing. Had England followed that, they could have been on the top. The series result, which is 3-0 now, could have been a little bit different. So yeah, the biggest takeaway, if you say from this team India, if India's batting, then those little partnerships, not if there is a 100-run partnership for say for the first wicket or the second wicket, then whenever there is a fresh start, if you be it for the third or the fourth or the fifth wicket, it have been really comprehensive that added together and then benefited India. So that was the basic difference, I think.
Yeah, that was the basic difference in the sense, the essence of quality between the both teams, and just a bit of graphic that we had showed you earlier. Biggest ODI wins for India was England by a run. So this win at Ahmedabad by 142 runs stands at what, second best after Rajkot 2008, 158 runs. 2014 130, Cardiff is also there. So yeah, I mean, England were nowhere near at their best, or nowhere near to compete with India. And Rudransh, you did mention a bit about Ben Duckett's comments, and Ben Duckett seems to have a knack of giving out these tongue these nasty comments after they getting a good thrashing. But overall, from an England perspective, they came in with a lot of all-rounders for the ODI format. All-rounders generally work in T20 setups better, but they had a truckload of all-rounders coming in for the ODIs. They made a lot of changes, chopping and changing. From your perspective, after covering all the three games here from the desk, what were your sense of what England were trying to do? They were actually were they trying experimenting here, trying to get things sorted for Champions Trophy and not really bothered about the results, or they were just blown away by what India offered or got against them, both with the bat and the ball.
I think I'll try to explain it from a coaching perspective because Gautam Gambhir inherited a much stable, much more stronger ODI squad. Brendan McCullum, which is like he has a similar experience, he has similar experience, great ODI player, but not a bona fide ODI coach per se, but he came in with a much more unsettled ODI setup. We saw with how England's batting lineup, the experiments are a result of the team being very unsettled. So he has always been like they go horses for courses and they keep on changing the setups. I think that's what showed here a lack of experience overall. And the team is, I think, still trying to find its feet. Plus, they have this huge focus on trying to be watchable, trying to be entertaining. I would like to take a word from Kevin Peterson's rant. He said, nobody cares about how watchable you are or how entertaining you are. At the end of the day, fans and people want to see you win. I think they were not trying to win because sometimes if you want to be a team that wins every game, like India did in the 2023 World Cup until the final, they didn't win every game outrightingly. They won the first match very ugly. They won two, three games very ugly. That's all you have to do. You have to curb your ego in a way. You don't have to. You have to stop being watchable or entertaining, and you have to work hard to win cricket matches. And I think they came up against a team which was much more serious than them in that regard, and a team that wanted to win, that wanted to carry the momentum of the Champions Trophy, and the approaches were completely different. India didn't care about experimenting that much, which had its cons, but it's still the right way if you want to win and carry momentum. Because I think if that was the goal, one team has accomplished that, and England's goal, if their goal was experimenting and not winning, not caring about winning, I think they have accomplished that as well. And then we'll see what happens in the Champions Trophy.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. And also, one of the things, Akash, just to pick up on what Rudran said, they were not really ready or they were still in that transition phase. In terms of ODI, you come to a subcontinent kind of, pitches, or in these conditions, you need to have spin. You need to have spinners. You need to trust on them. And what you only had Adil Rashid as your lone spinner. You also had a Rihan Ahmed in your lineup, as a specialist spinner, not really tried, and you were relying on your Joe Roots and Yel Livingstons and all the part timers. And look at India; it was a stark contrast. And you had an Akshar Patel, you had Ravindra Jadeja, you had Washington Sundar, you had Kuldeep Yadav. It's so stark, and even if you may want to say that India know their conditions better, but when you're traveling, it's just basic principle that you need to have couple of spinners, right? And that is where I think they really lost the plot and point to Rudran's that they are stuck to one particular thing that we want to play this brand of cricket, but conditions again, you have to respect the conditions, right? In each brand of cricket has to it cannot be condition agnostic. It has to you have to respect the conditions, and I think that is where England really fell behind. Do you think in the ODI series where just one spinner, Adil Rashid, that's about it, and India got it really easy playing the others?
Actually, that was one area where they were badly exposed, right? Because, and not just now, we have been discussing this thing right when, Moeen Ali was retired. And we have been we keep on discussing whenever England comes to the context that if not Moeen Ali, then who? And today we saw how Liam Livingston was brought into the attack pretty much early when they were not able to break that century partnership between Shubman Gill and Virat Kohli. So that shows that, boss, you don't have required resources to tackle a team like India, in their own backyard when they rely so much on spin. Well, one thing that I would like to mention here, that that obsession with the turners, we did not have to see that in this series, which was thankfully they overcame that factor. And the way they performed, I have been saying this again and again, that was fearless cricket, that too in 50 over format, which I think we hardly saw that in the World Cup, not throughout, I would say, but at least in this series. And now, speaking of England and the lack of resources, which I was talking about, that yes, they do lack resources when it comes to the spin attack, because yes, we know in back in England they have lush green, fields where the grasses are there on the track, so they love to play against pace. But when you are touring, as you mentioned, Vineet, when you are touring, especially at a place where the tracks are slower in comparison to what you have back at home, you have to have some good spinners, which they had, even Rehan Ahmed, as you named. But going into a game with just Adil Rashid, okay, he picked up what 3 4 wickets today. That was a great achievement for that particular spinner who has been reaping rewards in these kind of tracks. But what about the other batters, who did not leave anything for the other bowlers? So that was the case. And like you spoke about the culture or something, or the mindset or the style, what you spoke about, I would like to underline what Rudran said in the answers to the previous question, like the way of coaching or the way of, the one who guides you throughout the tournament. Now here comes a stark contrast. Just a month before, we were slamming, I mean, not we, the fans were slamming Gautam Gambhir for his way of coaching, for his style of, guiding these bunch of players. But now when we have won a series, that to 3-0, nobody will point a finger at him. But now when if we speak about his counterpart, Brendan McCullum, who I think is on a first tour as a English ODI coach, so I think there could be a I mean, he should take some responsibility, because if you honestly, as an Indian cricket, cricket watcher, or as an Indian cricket fan, most of us won't be knowing those guys, either who is Braden Cars or who is Jacob Bethel, because just a few years back, there used to be players who were developed ODI players, who are well settled ODI players, renowned ODI players, whom everyone knew. But now that's not the case with England. Whenever there is a competition and England comes to play, I don't think, not even us, but there are so many people out there who might not be knowing the half of the squad. So that's the problem. I could call it an identity crisis right now for England, which they have to overcome, because yes, other formats they are pretty cool, but in the ODIs, when it comes to the ODIs, they have to buckle up, especially when this series, as we have been talking about, that it's serving as a practice ground for the ICC Champions Trophy.
That's absolutely right. I mean, after the 2019 World Cup win for England, that was a solid ODI team. They've never been able to replicate it. They've tried to replicate that, but they've been able to produce, that kind of 2019 team. Let's move, shift our focus towards India now. Shubman Gill in particular, he's been the player of the series. He's got the man of the match and the player of the series. And for somebody who's did not have the greatest of test series in Australia, was under the pump, was being talked about a lot. In fact, when he was appointed the captain, or he was reinstated, or he was continued as a vice captain, there was a lot of clamor. Why him? He's not been doing well and everything. But we all tend to get into this muddle of mixing the formats. The three formats are different, at least white ball and the test. And you have to remember Shubman Gill. This is the best format that he plays. He's been the vice captain here. Rudransh, a word on Shubman Gill and how he is pretty much in a way, I wouldn't say taken the opportunity. He's just taken the opportunity, grabbed it, put it in his pocket, and has not given to anybody. 250s and 100. They're great confidence booster for somebody like a Shubman Gill. How do you see him going ahead in the Champions Trophy and in the entire series as well? How do you see him batting alongside somebody like Rohit Sharma? He was dropped on. He played one down also. Didn't have much of troubles. He was then bumped up again. No troubles at all. Shubman Gill probably coming back to the best of Shubman Gill that we probably hope to see.
I think for me, currently, he is our India's best ODI player. And I think he had that kind of performances just before the 2023 World Cup as well. He was really, really, really good. And I think he just understands the pace of ODI cricket. And the signs were always there. He was considered Virat Kohli's ear for a reason because they had similar mindsets on how to tackle ODI cricket. We have seen that all through our childhood and teenage that Virat Kohli you had that he just knew how to play ODI cricket, and that's what we see in Shubman Gill as well. He just knows how to handle situations, when to control the tempo, when to increase the tempo. And I think that it's just even before the 2023 World Cup, he had dengue and his momentum got halted. He had to take medicines, and dengue we all know it causes your body to get very weak. I think with that, again, before a championship, before an important ICC tournament, he has picked up pace, and I think it's the best because the bowling attack we all know it's looking a bit light, and I think Shubman Gill's performances, if he can put up, he can be a next ICC. He can follow Virat Kohli, Rohit Sharma, and Shikhar Dhawan, and the kind of a player that consistently performs in ICC tournaments, and if he does that, it's a great sign for India.
Big tournament player, big match player. You want
Yeah,
to put it that way. Shubman Gill could
yeah.
very well prove to be that. So yeah, that Shubman Gill again. There's nothing wrong or nothing you can criticize on what his performances were. To the point, as I said, grabbed the opportunity, did not let anybody else take that. Consolidated his position there. One other player from Team India who pretty much consolidated his position with surprise pick. It was Harshit Rana who got a debut in the first ODI, got 3 wickets. Then he continued to play. I, for one, thought Arshdeep he might be rested here with Arshdeep and Mohammad Shami, the two combo playing together the last match before the Champions Trophy. But now for me, Akash, I'm thinking on the lines that this could be signs of what we could see in Champions Trophy, where Harshit Rana could have very well pipped Arshdeep Singh now because the kind of performances that he had given in these three ODIs, and you could see a Mohammad Shami and Harshit Rana starting the Champions Trophy campaign for India against Bangladesh, and not somebody like an Arshdeep Singh. And the reason why I not really look at Arshdeep Singh as an ODI bowler is that because in T20 he's fantastic, but it's very one-dimensional. With that, after the new ball, what do you do? What do you do with the old ball? What would Arshdeep do with the older ball? And this was something I think Gautam Gambhir also mentioned. They want to try and see what Arshdeep can do with the older. But Harshit Rana seems a naturally adept at using the old ball as well, coming and with the new ball as well. Your take on this Ashdeep versus Harshit Rana? I wouldn't say conundrum, but a choice that Team India could make, and you could say Harshit Rana pipping Ashdeep Singh as your second new ball bowler after Mohammad Shami.
Well, I think if that would be the case, then it's clear that Harshit Rana will have a go ahead of Arshdeep Singh, because there comes a lot of factor, and it's just 3 games for him. This series marked his debut. We saw him in Nagpur. Then he was more consistent in Cuttack, and a little better performance in the third ODI in Ahmedabad. So yes, that's quite a impressive debut for say, but I'm still being skeptical about him, because you never know how he's gonna perform in in the UAE conditions, because it would also be a first time experience for him, going into an ICC Champions Trophy, or for that matter, for in an ICC tournament, or also at a place where I think he doesn't have that kind of an experience in playing under those kind of conditions. But if you are comparing it with, and where I'm getting skeptical, because Bumrah had played there. He had played so many, be it IPL or be it the ICC trophy, ICC these tournaments. Bumrah has been there. He knows how the condition works when under the lights or in daylight. But how will it be for Harshit Rana? That we still have to wait and watch, because yes, he bowled really well in these Indian conditions, and I know, because he already might have an idea because of the domestic cricket that he have been playing so far. But how will he perform in UAE? That's I'm pretty much excited also, and yet skeptical. I mean, a kind of a dilemma, kind of a situation. But yes, if you talk about Arshdeep Singh, then I would say yes, he might might have to wait, because the kind of the faith that management has shown in Harshit Rana, I think they are gonna continue with that. But also we must not forget that I think there is a practice match before we get into the main ICC event, before the Bangladesh match.
Well, not exactly. Just a PTA report came in that India are not playing any practice games. India is so confident that they treated the England games as practice games, and India are actually not
Okay,
playing
then.
these practice games. They land in Dubai 15th Feb, and they'll probably going to chill the next 4 days. While others, all the others are playing practice games. Pakistan has a couple of games lined up. New Zealand has one. Bangladesh also playing one game, but India apparently are not playing any practice games. The England games seem to be the practice sessions that they needed.
So having said that, then if you see, if there are no practice games, and if you see Harshit Rana in the first 11 ahead of Arshdeep Singh, I won't be surprised, but I would be eager to see how he performs there, because it's Bangladesh. It will be Bangladesh on February 19th. But yes, Pakistan, as we all know, how importance that what importance that match holds. But watching Harshit Rana ahead of Arshdeep Singh would be interesting. And if there is a change of plans in the Indian team management, that no, let's go with Arshdeep Singh because he has an experience of playing there, that would also not surprise me, because for obvious reasons, that because there comes the experience will come into the count. So yeah, that's my take. Even if it's Harshit or Arshdeep Singh, the performance will matter, not the chance who has been getting.
And also for me, I think the left arm of Arshdeep is just gives you that added advantage alongside Mohammad Shami. The two different, the ball coming from two different angles is very difficult for any opposition. Before wrapping this up, one final question on. I think I'll take both of your opinions on this. We did not see Varun Chakravarti in this third ODI. He's also similar to Varun Chakravarti, similar to Harshit Rana, really has come up the ranks, and it could be one of the deciding factors for the Champions Trophy as well, because the kind of performances that he's been putting in T20s and even the ODIs. Rudransh, it would be India would be spoiled for choices again in terms of spinners. Akshar Patel, Ravindra Jadeja, Kuldeep Yadav, Varun Chakravarti, Washington Sundar. You have five spinners at your disposal, and you won't be able to play all of them. I'm guessing Akshar Patel would paper Ravindra Jadeja because of his batting prowess or whatever he has done with the bat. What do you do with a Kuldeep Yadav or Varun Chakravarti, and you want to see a Varun Chakravarti, or you think Varun Chakravarti will be there, or Kuldeep Yadav once again would miss out as he has been in previous instances, or no, this is the time for Kuldeep Yadav, Chakravarti could wait.
I think what I would like to see is different, completely different from what I think will happen. I think I would like to see Kuldeep and Varun playing together
Yeah.
in the team, but I think that there is no chance of that happening because the team management loves batting depth. So I think what will happen is the kind of combination we saw recently in the first few matches. I think Jadeja, Akshar, Kuldeep will play, and if the pitches are more conducive to pacers, they will drop one of uh, Akshar and Jadeja, and they will play an extra pacer. But I think there is a good. I think there should be a consideration at least to have Varun Chakravarti and Kuldeep Yadav together because it gives you so much aggression and wicket taking ability in the middle overs that it will completely make the team stand out from everything else, and it will help the team a lot because neither of those spinners depend on wickets. Even if the wickets are very pacer friendly, they can take wickets on those pitches. But I think it will be the a similar combination that we saw in the first match. Plus, I think if it will be about choosing one of Varun Chakravarti and Kuldeep Yadav, they will still go with Kuldeep Yadav, unless. But I think it will have that a bit of a reactionary take to it that if Kuldeep Yadav fails in one of the matches and India manage to win it, they will change it and they will bring Varun Chakravarti in the second match.
And also, I'm also thinking the fact that because you have Hardik Pandya there, India could also go ahead and experiment with just one pacer, one frontline pacer. Have Mohammad Shami and Hardik Pandya your pacers, and then you probably can fit in a Kuldeep, a Varun, and an Akshar, or maybe a Jadeja also in that matter, and that gives you batting depth as well, and that gives you your spin bowling options as well. But yeah, it will be very interesting. India is not known for these kind of dynamic options for that matter. But yeah, Kuldeep Yadav ahead of Arun Chakravarti surely seems something that Team India would go ahead with, and that makes sense. And one final question to you, Akash, on the team selection for Champions Trophy itself. One of the striking things for me has been KL Rahul's persistence as a wicketkeeper. We have not seen or hint of Rishabh Pant anywhere around. This is going to be the same for Champions Trophy, that Pant's gonna wait, because KL Rahul, even though he didn't get his preferred batting position in the first two ODIs, as I had mentioned, India batting first, KL Rahul you could see at number 5, he did that. 40 of what, just 29 deliveries behind the wickets. He has not done anything wrong, nothing that we can point out, say that, oh, he wasn't that great behind the stumps. Come Champions Trophy, there is going to be KL Rahul, and Pant is not going to be anywhere near that ODI setup. Not near, but yeah, in that playing 11 for sure in the near future.
Well, honestly, I don't see Rishabh Pant coming up, for the first two matches against Bangladesh and against Pakistan. And our roster is such that we are facing New Zealand, one of the toughest sides in that pool, at the very end, that too, a week after we face Pakistan. Right. So, if we speak particularly about KL Rahul, what happened in these three match series, it could be a case that since all the players have played just three ODIs or less in the past 1 year, it was an idea to give Rahul as much game time as possible, because Rahul is being considered as the first choice wicketkeeper. Now, what happens when you go to Dubai? As you said, there might be a possibility that India don't play a practice game and go directly into the first match against Bangladesh. So yes, I'm seeing Rahul there because, as you mentioned, that a slight change in his batting order brought the best out of him. He scored he closely missed a 50, right? And the last time what we saw Rahul batting in an ICC tournament in UAE, he was the opener with Rohit Sharma. And but now, 2 3 years down the line, his batting order has changed, and what he did today was commendable. I mean, that's a positive sign for him going forward, when he knows and the management knows that he is your first choice wicket keeper. So was practice is done, now go to the main event, score runs. And once again I will emphasize on what the openers have been doing. Now you don't have an Yashasvi Jaiswal in that squad, so the onus comes directly on the shoulders of Rohit Sharma and Shubman Gill. If they both fire, then Rahul will have the least to do. But if both of them do not, then yes, that will be the situation when his role will be impactful. He has to be worth watching, I would say. He has to make an impact, so that to put the opponents under pressure. But as far as Rishabh Pant is concerned, I'm not going to see him at least in the first two games. Like what Rudransh said about Varun Chakravarti coming in once India secure their position into the that knockouts. I think if they win two matches straight, and then once they confirm their position, that could be a point where Rishabh Pant might come, because we have seen Rishabh Pant performing, thriving under pressure. And what I am guessing is, given New Zealand's performance in the ongoing tri series in Pakistan, what I am making of New Zealand, that one team would be enough challenging for India. So yes, that could be the game where Rishabh Pant might come in. But if you ask about his place in the first two games, I'm not sure.
That is true. That is true. I mean, and the kind of performances that India put in, there's no doubt that India go into Champions Trophy as one of the favorites. I mean, you did talk about New Zealand being one of the strong teams there, but again, New Zealand is also a team which, very similar to England, is in a bit of transition, and it's UAE as well. We don't know how they could perform, even though you cannot really rule them out because they tend to punch above their weight in ICC tournaments. Australia could have been another big talking point here, but the kind of injury concerns and the people who have backed out the first choice players, Australia are going in with practically a second string team to UAE. So nearly, I mean, from what we have seen, witnessed, what India could do or have done, there's no competition there for India. But again, it is an ICC tournament, and for India, and ICC tournaments don't really go hand in hand. But hopefully that is not the case. But with that, that's a wrap for our session here. We discussed. Thank you, Rudransh and Akash, for your thoughts on the ODI series as well, and what we could see in the Champions Trophy. And for all the fans who had joined in, thank you very much. If you have any comments and if you have any questions, do put it in the comment section down below. We'll be more than happy to take it up in the next live sessions or something. So yeah, that's about it from us, guys. Thank you, Rudransh, and thank you, Akash, and to you all. Have a good night. Yeah.